Hello. I wanted to make a new podcast, but I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed because a lot has happened. And so I decided to make a video and to just start, I guess, to move the energy. And I notice often when I haven't found the time to express things, it builds up and it becomes harder and harder to open up and allow the energy to move again, because now there is kind of this chaos because it's become too much, and then I suppress it more and more and more because I feel overwhelmed by the chaos. But the more I suppress it, the more it builds up and the more chaotic it becomes. So maybe the invitation can be sometimes to just start, even though it's chaotic, and allow energy to move. It's like I now see, if you have these leaves blocking a pipe where there is normally water running, if you start clearing out the block and the leaves, in the beginning the water is murky and it's messy, and often it first gets worse before it's like this slow and steady free flowing energy and it's clean. Also, when you're going to restore a house, first it gets messy when you take out the old before you can do the new. So it's kind of like, don't wait for the perfect moment to come, because the chaos is just growing bigger. The block is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. More leaves are piling up in the water channel, whereas if you just start taking it out and accept the mess, you will get to clear, calmer waters. So let's start with that. First thing I would like to share and to express is my dance with structure. Because a while ago I decided to create this structure for Substack that I wanted to share on Monday an insight, on Wednesday a podcast, and on Friday a blog. And more than anything, it was to help me have some sort of structure, guidance, to connect with myself, to check in with myself, and to allow energy to move. Because I know if I don't have this structure, it's very easy to get lost in the life around me, that it's high demanding and it's the normal physical world, like doing your laundry or cooking food, doing shopping, cleaning the house, doing your work, meeting other people, social life. And if I don't create this structure to check in and make time for more personal awareness, time for stillness, time for reflection, I find it very easy to lose that. So the structure was meant to support me, to create sacred space for me in which I would feel like, okay, I create time now in this busy life to pause and to go inward and to travel internally rather than constantly externally. But then at some point life became so chaotic and so full. I was physically very busy, working many days, many hours, and also next to work doing many things, and there was a lot of emotional overwhelm, just extremely tired. So whenever I didn't have to do something, I couldn't push myself to share or create, because I just felt completely empty. I had nothing to give, nothing to share. And this is where I started to feel kind of a prisoner of this structure that I created. Rather than feeling embraced by it and supported by it, I kind of felt trapped within it. And I thought, this is an interesting dance with structure, because I came from an extremely structured life in the past, being busy every day and having everything very organized, very structured, very efficient, but it completely burnt me out. And then I swung the complete opposite way to no structure, complete free flowing, because I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't hold on any structures. I had to really basically clear the table and have nothing. Like I needed that void, that emptiness. And then at some point I realized, I want to start building something again, but without the structure it's very difficult to build, to create. I also need this structure. And I guess it comes down to this balance between the feminine and the masculine energy. The feminine energy just being kind of like water, free flowing, but needing the container, a bedding, the structure, in order to flow in a certain direction. Otherwise it just spills and it goes nowhere. So I've been dancing ever since with trying to find a balance with structure, with boundaries, and with space and time and free flowing energy. So it doesn't become too rigid, or the other way, like too completely nothing, like not even chaos, just nothing. So the last weeks I struggled with this, like, I have this structure. Should I push myself a little bit more? Because I noticed the weeks before that it really helped to have this structure. And I was afraid to now sink into this inability to keep up with the structure and to trust that if I let go for it for a moment, either the structure might change or transform, or maybe I will come back to it later. It's just like a holiday, a moment to take a deep breath and a break, and trust that the river of life will take me back to wherever I'm meant to be. But right now I can surrender into my inability to keep up with this structure. So I let it go. It was not really a choice because I really didn't have it in me. But there was this fear of losing the structure, losing the safety that it provided for me, and trusting that somehow I would get back on track, because I lost myself also in the demands of the outside world. I felt unsafe and unwelcome to create enough space and time for me to rest, to recharge, to restore, to reflect, and to share that part of the journey. So in general, I guess I was a bit caught up in the demands of the outer world, which to me felt very masculine energy, and there was not enough space and time for this more feminine energy. I didn't feel free and safe to create the structure for stillness and time out. And that kind of brings me back to the next thing I would like to share, because eventually, after trying to keep up with the expectations of the environment I was in, and trying to get up earlier to make more time for myself, and trying to somehow have enough time for my inner journey, which is so important for me, and the time to rest and reflect and to become aware of myself, and also showing up in the outside world and having connections with other people. Somewhere I realized I can't. I cannot find the balance in this environment. I cannot create enough space and time for myself. And I tried to bring it up a few times, which is huge fear for me still. I find it so scary to speak up for myself when I'm surrounded by other people, which is another reason why I spent a lot of my time, many years actually, completely alone. Because I felt that was the only space where it was safe for me to take the sacred time and space for myself that I need to heal, to feel, to nurture myself, to give to myself first before trying to fill up all the cups of the world around me with all their demands. And I needed to grow strong enough in my self-love to have boundaries, to gather the courage to say, no, I can't do it right now. I understand that you want that. I understand that you need it, but I'm a person too, and I need to take care of myself first. And there was huge fear around that, and shame and guilt and all the rest of it. And it was a lesson that I've tried to avoid for a very, 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 very long time because of all the fears it brought up. And so I didn't like the experience I found myself in the last 2 weeks or month actually. And at the same time, I'm deeply grateful because it was the place where I could grow. It was the place where I could become aware and see what I was doing and see where I moved out of fear rather than out of self-love. And practice in gathering the courage to stand up for myself and to do what I frightened most, which is to stand up for myself and to say no. Especially when I'm at someone else's space. It's like, if I'm at somebody else's space, do I still have the right to honor myself? And many people might say no, and it's selfish. But for myself, actually, I now feel no, my energy is mine and it's sacred. And I get to decide where I wish to share it. It's a gift. My presence is a gift. Not what I do, not my productivity, but who I am as a person. And my self-love is big enough that I want to move to places where I am celebrated for who I am, and where I'm nurtured, and where I feel free, and where I receive all the time and space that I need to fill up my own cup first, to tend to my own needs first. And then when my cup is full and I have something else to give, that whatever it is that I have to give is received as a present, as a gift, as something to be grateful for, rather than I have the right for your time and energy, so you give to me, and I don't care that you have nothing to give. I don't care what you need. Give me more, give me more, give me more. So it was a beautiful, beautiful, scary lesson to be, and it also made me doubt at some point. Or actually, it didn't make me doubt. It made me aware of life being a journey, and that it is all about the experience. So often I try to make the right choice. And with the right choice seems to be the choice that is smooth sailing, that is easy, that doesn't bring up all this conflict or difficulties. And then I realized, but then there is not much you learn. Maybe life is about having the courage to follow your flow, to follow your yes, whatever your yes is, wherever you feel called to go. And then accept that that is the experience that will bring you the most growth or healing or nourishment, whatever it is that you really need. Also, if that can be difficult, also if it's painful, also if it brings up all your fears and all your triggers, maybe these are the greatest gifts because they allow you to, they give you a chance to see the pattern and to break out from it, to heal it, and to then leave it for once and for all, so you don't have to repeat that lesson again. It's a bit like school, you know, you learn stuff and then you have the test, and if you pass the test, you don't have to take the course again. But if you fail it, you take the same course again and again and again and again until you get it right. So maybe certain life lessons, you just get a chance every now and then to go for it again and to try to master it. And once you've mastered it, you can let it go. And you can take a break from it, and certain lessons, maybe at some point you can be like, I don't want to learn this lesson. I'm not sure if it works like that. Everything is always depending on perspective, so it's never the one truth only. But in this case, I felt like, no, I didn't fail. Because it felt so, it brought me so much joy. That's also where the confusion came from. It brings me so much joy. It makes me so happy. So I want to do everything I can to make it work. And why was yesterday so happy and am I so tired today? And how can there be this great appreciation and gratitude and at the same time this huge fear? And I guess maybe when there is so much gratitude and appreciation, it is extra scary to address the parts that are actually not happy, that are not like where something feels off, because there is the fear of losing the good thing. If you also address the, not the bad thing, maybe the toxic thing or the thing that is not healthy yet. And I think often we can live in a place where you're only allowed to say everything that's good, and you're not allowed to go to where there is difficulty, because we don't want to see that, we don't want to address it, so we ignore it, deny it, silence people for bringing it up, and just focus on the good. And then we hope this thing that's here will just magically resolve itself. And I think there is so much potential for growth here and for understanding and for deeper connection, but we have to be willing to go there. And I need to go here to the difficult part because I want to feel safe in all layers, also in the depth, not just in where life is easy, but also where it's difficult. Like, I want to meet people that are willing to go there with me because they care for the connection as well. They care for themselves and they care for me. I guess this is what it's about this care for each other. Like, I want it to work as well. If something is off for you, let's sit and let's try to meet in the middle. And if we really cannot meet in the middle, then it's the most loving thing to let go and to wish you the best, and that you find whatever you need and that I can find whatever it is that I need. So yeah, I need to go there. And I feel this is always very scary. I find it very scary to bring that up. And I did it. And I tried a few times to see if it could work. And I tried because I didn't want to lose what I liked. And eventually I came to the conclusion I can't create enough time and space for myself here, so it's time to let it go. And that brought up this doubt, like, oh my god, maybe I was wrong. And then I realized no, because what it gave me, this experience, is also the realization that I really enjoy working with other people. Last few months I've done a lot of volunteer work with other people, and I like the other volunteers. I like the people I was working with. So I realized I'm not as much as a hermit as I thought I was. If I feel safe with the people I work with, if I feel there is mutual respect, I blossom, I shine, and I have a lot to give. When I feel someone is trying to control me or dominate me or is telling me off, I shrink, and I used to shrink and become this little girl, and I shut down. So rather than being more productive, I actually retreat within myself and I start hiding. So I noticed also how important the people are that I'm surrounded with. And there's people that help me to blossom and to grow and that make me shine. And there is people that make me contract and make me like, and it's nothing wrong. But it just shows for me how important it is that I pick the right environment and the right people, and that I have the freedom to do so. I can walk away from people that make me feel not good, stressed or anxious. I don't have to stay there, and I don't have to work really hard to try to make it work eventually. because I see this is a pattern that I've done a lot in the past. I worked harder, I tried harder, I took the blame and the responsibility, and I tried to make the relationship work by putting in the work. And I realized many times the other half, the other person or the other people were not making the same effort to make it work. So there was no mutual respect and no mutual desire for a loving connection where everybody can shine and where everybody can blossom. And I guess my self-love now is strong enough to recognize those places and to say, it's time for me to go. And I've done that many times in my life, and I've made many people angry with that or upset, and it's always scary. I never like it. I rather try to avoid it and just work hard so it can work this time. And then no, it didn't work. But yeah, I think what I've learned is to be comfortable with not being liked, to become comfortable with people not liking me, not understanding me. My insight of this week was like, I don't call if people call me useless anymore, because I didn't want to be used in the first place. And that's a very good reminder for me. Like, that's also shutting the door on a certain types of energy, certain type of people. I don't need their approval anymore. I don't need the people that call me useless in my life. I don't need them because they can't see the value of who I am, not of what I do, but who I am. And I don't want to be used by anything or by anyone. It's done. So in the end, I can see now that I needed this experience to first of all realize, there are people that I like to connect with. I'm not a completely asocial person that just wants to hide in the corner. I do really enjoy being with other people. So that was a nice experience, and I have the right to tend to my own needs, and that's something I'm still growing into, and I feel still a block around my heart and my throat, like still very afraid to speak up for that. But I'm doing it anyway. And every time I do it, I create more space for myself. I create more courage. I create more freedom. My life becomes more and more my own again. My energy becomes more and more my own again. I don't have to please the world around me. I don't have to try to fill all their cups and all their demands. I can choose myself. I have the right to do that. Even if the whole world around me goes crazy when I do so and call me all sorts of things and become very angry, I can feel, is this good for me? Is this loving for me? And if it's not, I have the right to leave. And I can do that. And I did it again and again and again. Even if that in my case would mean I have no house to live, no place to live. I don't know how I'm going to eat. Because, anyway, it doesn't matter. I can still do it. And life always supports me. And now I'm in this magical place. I'm sitting outside under a tree and an umbrella, I'll be honest. And I can catch a breath, and I've created time and space for myself again. But this time and space for myself was on the other side of facing my fears. And I think maybe many times we are afraid and we just wait for things to solve itself. Because we don't dare to face the fear. We don't want to upset anybody. We don't want to speak a boundary to a boss or to a partner maybe, or to a parent, because we are afraid of them. Actually, I think often there is fear. But as long as we stay, like, we don't face that fear and we don't speak up for ourselves and we don't stand up for those people, control our lives. And it's not their fault. It's an invitation to grow into self-love and self-confidence and courage, to speak up and to create the space and freedom for yourself to live your life. Like, you are your own hero. And I guess none of us, we want to be the hero rescuing someone else, but we don't want to be the hero rescuing us. Because often when you stand up for yourself and you are your own hero, there is no applause. There might be a lot of judgment. There is no newspaper calling you, like you stand quite lonely sometimes. It's very scary. And yet, I guess this is the hero you're waiting for. Nobody else is going to give you the life that you want and that you deserve. It's up to you to stand up for that and to believe in it and to be willing to walk through the fire for yourself, not for someone else, but for yourself. Are you willing to face your own fears for you? Because also I have noticed so many times that it's so much easier to do something that I'm afraid of for someone else than to do it for myself. And I've been practicing with that and working on that. And it's difficult because, like in my case, there is nowhere to hide. There is nowhere to go. There is not a home where I can go to. There is not a partner. So it's like, I walk through the fire. I upset the people that are around me, that are my world right now. And I don't know what will happen next. But I know that if I don't do it, I won't get to live the life that I want, and it's up to me. Anyway, I'm going around and around in circles. So basically, the insights that I had is about structure, and that I do appreciate structure, and I'm learning to dance with it so structure can serve me. And sometimes I can let it go and let structures transform as well, because I guess also it's not holding on to structure for the sake of the structure, but is the structure still serving? Or is it time for the structure to evolve? Or maybe to just take a little break from it and return to it later. Like, my personal relationship with structure is one that is unfolding and transforming all the time. And it can bring up some anxiety, but it's also a place where I can grow in more self-love and awareness. And how can I create a structure that serves me? How can I also feel safe if the structure falls away for a while? Like, how can I allow things to serve me? So the structure thing, the experience thing, that sometimes... I think life is not about, things always being easy, but it's about the lessons that we learn. And every experience is the perfect experience, even if it's very difficult. So for me, the yes that I felt when I went to the place where I was before was absolutely true. The joy was absolutely true. It showed me what I liked, and it showed me what I didn't like. It showed me what gave me energy, and it showed me what costed me energy. And so it made me more aware of myself, of my needs, of my desires. And in that, the whole experience was very, very valuable, and it came to a natural end. It gave me everything it could give me, and now it's time to move on. I don't have to stay longer in an experience than needed. Once you learn the lessons, you can let it go. So I think this is also interesting if you see life like that there is not like one thing that has to be the answer, one goal to get to, but maybe life is just a sequence of experiences. And every experience, every relationship, every job, every house, everything, it teaches you something. And when it's completed, it's okay to let it go. It doesn't mean that the experience itself is wrong if things eventually turn sour or are not working anymore. I think there is lessons to learn everywhere if you want to. And that there is value in every experience. So that's the thing that I had. And then there is I'm completely fine being called useless because I didn't want to be used anyway. That's the fourth thing, or the third thing. And the fourth thing, what was the fourth one? It's where I ended with. And it's somewhere floating around my brain, but I can't grasp it. It's funny. I don't know right now. What was I saying? Becoming your own hero. Becoming your own hero. Honoring your needs. Honoring who you are as a person. And it's again becoming a brick, a stone, rather than the mortar that's around it. Become a person, become a you, dare to honor you, dare to speak up for you. Because if you're just all the time trying to make everybody happy, like please everybody else, you will not be honored and respected by your environment because you're not really there. So dare to be there. For me, a thing I'm very much working on lately is also self-realization. And that's very scary. Because if you really own yourself and who you are, and you have the courage to unapologetically, is that the word? Love yourself and stand up for yourself and speak up for yourself. Yes, there will be many people that might judge you. But it's also allowing you to live the life that you want. It's your ticket to greatness, I think, and to become who you are. And it's your ticket to freedom. Because then you control your life. You're not running on what other people tell you to do anymore. You call back your power, you call back your freedom. So I'm learning to become this brick or this stone for a long time now. And I'm practicing it, and it's very scary because you can't hide anywhere. You can't hide behind a role. You can't hide in being the good daughter or son or colleague or friend. People are going to judge you, and you've got to take it all. You've got to own yourself, your shit and your greatness, and stand there tall. Be who you are. And that's what I want to do. that's been my desire for coming to Portugal also 4 years ago. And it's what I find very scary, but I keep showing up. And it takes many little steps, and it takes facing lots of fears and walking through many fires. But it's also giving me freedom and space to breathe, and I'm completely okay with not being liked, or at least part of me is now completely okay with not being liked. I'm sure there will be other layers within me that are still not so okay with that, because I don't like conflict. I don't like it, but I'm not willing to sacrifice myself and my own well-being anymore in order to please the whole world around me. So yeah, that's what I've been traveling with the last few weeks. And now I'm curious to see if I can come back into some sort of rhythm. I already noticed that I might not necessarily want to stay very strict in the inside on Monday, the podcast on Wednesday, and the blog on Friday. Because sometimes I notice I don't want to write, I want to speak, or I want to sing, or I want to do a card reading, or I want to share something else, or whatever. So I allow myself also to dance with this structure and to find something that embraces me and that supports me and that has my back and that adjusts to whatever it is that I need. So I'm trying to follow my flow and to welcome support in doing so. And so the structure can be flexible as well, and it's here to support me. So I allow myself some playtime to discover and to journey, to travel, to reflect, to feel, to rest, and to just enjoy the magic all around me, because there is so much magic. I'm not sure if I can show you. So I'm staying in this very old house and just enjoying to watch the grass. Actually, I love grass. I'm not smoking it. I just like to see how it's dancing in the sun. So I'm gonna enjoy life and allow myself to find my own way to self-expression, my own way to taking up space and saying, ta-da, this is me. And I am here to stay, and I'm here to be.